Well, hey everyone, welcome again to the Intentional Youth Ministry YouTube channel. So glad that you've joined with us today. Those of you that are just jumping in and joining us, my name is Matt Moore, and so honored that you would jump on and take a few minutes of your day to check this out. And so today I thought it would be fitting to talk a little bit about worship, the worship experiences that we create in our student ministries. And yeah, you see a drum set behind me. I'm a drummer as well, and man, love worship, love music, and but I wanted to take a little bit of time and just dig in and talk about how we can create intentional worship experiences for our student ministries. I'll never forget a few years ago, we had a youth service going on. It was actually a middle school service designed just for middle school students. And I'll never forget, we're singing the song and we're in there and we're worshiping and we're singing the song. As I'm standing there and I'm singing the lyrics to this song, I'm looking around the room and I'm looking at all the young people in the room. And I start looking at kind of some blank stares on faces, and I start to realize, wait a second, like, I don't even know if the students even understand what they're saying right now. I don't even understand if they know what they're singing and what these words even mean. And the reality was, the song was a pretty, I'll use the word this, it was filled with some pretty churchy lingo. And it wasn't really a song that was relevant to students who were coming into the space who really didn't know Christ or who were new in their walk with God. And it was interesting. So after the service, I went up to our worship team and we had a student-led team, and one by one, I kind of just went up to them and I just said, "Hey, listen, can I ask you a question? In that song, there's these lyrics and it says this and this. Do you know what it's saying?" And it was interesting to me, it was very telling that really, even out of that group, of the actual worship team, only one or two students really even knew what the song was talking about. For me, that was kind of a moment of kind of waking up to realize that we needed to be more intentional with the worship experiences we created. Now, I know what you're probably thinking to yourself. Maybe some of you are like, well, hold up a second. The worship isn't about me. It's not about us. It's all about God. And I 100% agree with you. But I do believe that as pastors, we have a responsibility, right, to make sure that we are effectively pastoring and shepherding the people that God has given us. And so when it comes to the young people in your ministry, for me, I realize, yes, worship is all about God, but is the worship experience that we're creating, is it making it conducive? Is it a conducive environment for students to really connect with God through worship? Or were we hindering that connection with God because we were throwing a bunch of songs in there with a bunch of words that honestly didn't even know, that not only the students not know, but I'll give you an example. I remember one of the songs that we were singing for a while. It had this terminology in there about the blood of the lamb that was slain. And look, nothing wrong with that, right? That's relevant. I get it. It's in God's word. But I started thinking to myself, wait a second, like if I'm an unchurched 12 or 13 or 14 or 15-year-old walking into a space, my friend invited me. I saw that there was this really cool thing in town for students, and I show up, and we're standing there, and all of a sudden they experience this really intense worship moment, and we're singing songs about the blood of the lamb that was slain. In their mind, they have no context, and so we have to be careful because man, they're going to think we're some weird cult who's all about going around and killing baby sheep. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that while yes, worship is about God, and I think that we can use worship in the context of our youth service as a way to coach and teach and train young people, I would just say, like, reality is by just being intentional with the way that we worship, the songs that we choose, and making sure we're creating conducive environments for students to worship and connect with God and not to hinder that experience. So I just encourage you guys with that. I think worship is such a huge piece of what we do, and that it's important at a young age to really get young people engaging with worship. In fact, we started a worship team for middle school students and high school students years ago, and it has blossomed into something pretty incredible. It has become a huge pipeline for our main service and our main campuses at the church I'm a part of now. And so I would just, worship is a huge piece to student ministry. On a future talk, I will dig in and talk to you about practically how you can start a worship team and how you can develop that as well. But I just wanted to share this kind of heart with you. Let's be intentional about how we create worship experiences so that it's, yes, we're connecting, letting students connect with God, but we're not hindering students who maybe are new in their walk with God or don't even have a relationship with Jesus yet from being able to encounter him through worship.